In this video, we are going to look at some different activities that I uploaded on my website to reinforce the practice that students have been doing with adding hundredths. So they're in their own folder. They're called extra activities, but you'll notice that the sets of cards that students are using for these activities all have an A at the end. So this is called hundredths 0 to A. And they'll use one of three activities. So the first one here is just called addition sequence. The second one is called finding the perimeter. And the third one is called missing dimension. So I just wanted to create a quick little video to show how each activity can be used, just to reinforce the idea of perimeter, area, sequencing, while continuing to practice our addition with decimal numbers, in this case hundredths, decimal numbers, and fractions. So in this case, we're using the deck of cards hundredths 0 to A as an example. And the student in this case has flipped over two cards, 38 hundredths and 36 hundredths. So for the first activity, the sequencing, what we'll do is we'll take 38 hundredths as our initial number, and the second number that was flipped will end up being the difference between each number, or the number that we have to add each time. So in this case, 36 hundredths. So what students would have to do to find the second number is find the sum of 38 hundredths and 36 hundredths, which in this case is 74 hundredths, and then continue. Add another 36 hundredths until they've filled each of the 5 lines. And again, students can work in either the fractional representation or the decimal representation, whatever they're most comfortable with at this point. For the second activity, calculating the perimeter, here students will use the same two numbers. So the dimensions of my rectangle in this case are 38 hundredths centimeter and 36 hundredths centimeter, and now we have to find the perimeter. So the strategy that I've discussed with students, this would have been a few months ago now, to find the perimeter, is actually to find the sum of half of my perimeter. So just these two dimensions here. So the sum of 36 hundredths and 38 hundredths is 74 hundredths. And then what students should recognize at this point is, because this is my half perimeter, I can actually just double my sum to get the full perimeter of my rectangle, or add 74 hundredths plus 74 hundredths. So in this case, I will get 148 hundredths, or 1 48 hundredths. Now for the third example, students will actually only use one of the numbers. So here we'll use 38 hundredths for our example. And in the perimeter slot right here, students need a whole number. So I usually give them a wooden cube with a couple of digits on it. Nothing too big, 2, 3, 4, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. But you can use the random number generator from Google that I discussed in the first video with adding hundredths. So in this case, let's just say that we Googled a random number, or picked a random number, and we had 3 centimeters as the perimeter. So here what we're going to do is we are going to do the opposite strategy that we did with the second placemat, the find the perimeter placemat. So if I know that my total perimeter is 3, then half of my perimeter would be 3 divided by 2, which goes back to our knowledge of dividing with remainders. So in this case, the answer becomes 1.5, or 1 50 hundredths, or 1 5 tenths. And then what I have to find is which number plus 38 hundredths will give me 1 50 hundredths. So students could also think about it here as 1.5 minus 38 hundredths. But if you look at it this way as a missing addend, it really reinforces your addition, but also is a great link to subtraction, which we are going to look at after we've done a little bit of adding with fractions. So in this case, the answer is 1 and 12 hundredths. So my second dimension is 1 and 12 hundredths. Thanks for watching.